And a happy good evening to you all on this Tuesday night edition of Trackside Live. Thank you all very much for being very patient with us today. We are live here on YouTube this time around, and Tyler Kuehl, Nate Dreyer here. Yes, we are here much earlier than we expected, Nate. We were supposed to have the Tekton 250 Battle at Berlin practice here on Tuesday night. Unfortunately, Mother Nature, just similar to kind of what happened in Money in the Bank back in June, said nay, not this time.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's something we've dealt with this year. A lot of rain, a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning that we've been dealing with this afternoon. And also, once again, if you found this stream here on YouTube, like we mentioned, Berlin going to be sharing it across our social media channels. Make sure you tell your friends and whoever else to come over to the Berlin Facebook page. You should be subscribed here already, by the way. All of our previous broadcasts are put up, or our live shows are put up onto YouTube after the fact. But make sure you come and check us out this stream because of little technical gremlins that we had on the other stream going to be on YouTube here tonight and now streaming nice and clean. So thankfully we're going to be able to get a few drivers through here throughout the rest of the night here and preview some things as we get ready for the 250 tomorrow.
Yeah, we got a lot. We have almost 30 drivers ready to go here for the Battle at Berlin. A couple of late additions as well, so we're nearing that triple digit mark. Imagine 100 race cars at the same time. Almost 30 drivers here for the Tekton 250. $40,000 is on the line. So a little bit of a change to the schedule with no practice today. There's a 1-hour additional practice session tomorrow, Nate, starting at 12 o'clock to allow the drivers to shake things down. And let's be honest, we'll talk about some of these drivers.
Practice as possible because they know this track. They know the very unique intricacies of Berlin Raceway so well. But for everyone else, it's going to be really critical that, just like what we had with everything moved into essentially a one-day show back in June for the Money in the Bank 150, the Tekton 250 now going to be the same sort of setup. It's going to be a long day. All afternoon going to be spent practicing, then qualifying, and then into the race at night. So certainly it's going to be quite a day tomorrow, and it's going to be rapid-fire learning for these teams.
For a lot of first-time drivers. We'll talk about those and more. We'll take a break, and we'll talk to one of the guys that you've seen quite a bit here at Berlin. We'll have Dylan Stoville on here on the other side on Trackside Live. And welcome back, folks, to a special edition of Trackside Live. Tyler Kuehl on the inside, down on the low side, Nate Dreyer, and, of course, on the outside, one-time feature winner here at the Tekton Super Late Models. Hey, you might have a chance to make it, too, tomorrow. Driver of the 24 car out of Wayland, Michigan, Dylan Stoville. Dylan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
First of all, Dill, we'll talk about the rain here. I know everyone loves talking about weather because whenever there's clouds in the sky, every race fan, driver, broadcasters, even us, even though we have a guy that works with us as a meteorologist, we all become amateur meteorologists.
Oh, yeah.
When you see the rain right now, with practice now being canceled for today, what are your thoughts as the driver?
For us, I think we run here full time, so I think we're not too worried about it. We know where we need to be, right? So it'd have been nice to get a few mock runs in, of course, and kind of gauge where we need to be at, but I think we're pretty well off. We're not too worried about it.
Tell us about the confidence for you and your team right now. Won back in June on Arcanite, had the second place finish last week as well. We know the Van Dorn cars in general have been so strong lately. Where are you as a driver? Where's the team at in terms of the confidence heading into the biggest race of the year?
Yeah, I mean, we led 74 laps and nail-biting at the end and didn't go our way. But, no, we're fairly confident. We had a good piece last year, had to bring out the backup car last year, and we still managed to do good. Yeah, I think we're pretty set, and we're pretty set in stone with where we need to be at, and we're excited for tomorrow.
What is it about the 250 that you've had some good runs in 75 lappers? Obviously, you won back on Arcanite. You had a great run with Austin Hall, a good battle there for the lead. What can you take from that and add, another 175 laps on top of that?
I mean, it's do 75 on repeat, you know what I mean, and throw some tires in there. Berlin's all about saving, and track position's huge towards the end. I mean, a lot of people talk about track position in Berlin, but like you guys, it's 250 laps. So, I mean, we've started this race off 26th on a bad cue and worked our way up to 6th by the end of the night. So, I think we'll be all right. I think the main thing is, like I said, track position towards the end.
One of the interesting things when you look at the Van Dorn camp, which I'll obviously say that you run out of, is you've got a little bit different setup than what almost everyone else does at this point in time. They've moved to that Gen 6 body on their cars, a little bit different setup. You think that's an advantage for you and your team, that you come in with something a little bit different than what even all of your pseudo teammates are running?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely talk in the offseason about what we're going to do. You'd hate, budget-wise, I mean, we're not a budget team by no means. We're pretty well off, and thankful to all my sponsors for that. But it's kind of hard just to throw a body away and go right to a Gen 6 halfway through the season. So there's talk about us putting a Gen 6 body on come next season. I think there's advantages and disadvantages of both, but definitely the big spoiler, I think, is helping a lot of the guys right now.
What are you kind of looking at that you've learned from the last couple of times you ran the 250, maybe tire strategy-wise? I know we talk about the tires a lot here ever since we got the McCreary's, but you've seen guys do 3 tire stops. Some do 2 then 4, some do 4 then 2. What is Dylan Stoville like, or do you have to find out the day of?
I think it's really a day of. I mean, you can come up with 10 different schemes, right, and it's all going to play out where you cue. I mean, the real kind of, you can plan all you want, like I said, but you're really managing and figuring out what you're going to do as the race is in process. So we'll see what we do tomorrow. I know it's if you're in the top 5, you're always kind of whatever. If like Hocevar, when Hocevar's leading, it's like, all right, we're sitting here, we're going to do whatever Hocevar is doing at this point. You know what I mean? Chase the leader at that point. But yeah, I think it always really comes down to the day of.
Tell us about that mix that has started to develop at this race. Moving to the American Racer tires, they've got a little bit different vibe to them than what the Hoosiers did in the past, and balancing the idea of tire save versus track position and how that can somewhat alter the strategy, because I think what you do hear from teams, because these tires don't fall off a cliff the way that we used to have, that maybe it allows you to get funny with the strategy and fight and try to find track position instead of solely tire save.
Yeah, I think you can definitely push this tire a little further than the Hoosier that we were on before. I think I learned that a little bit last week with saving so much, and with Austin behind us, pressuring us, I still wanted to save, and I think I could have pushed a little harder, But no, I think I like where the tire's at right now. I mean, of course, we all hated it right when we got on it, right? Because none of us could really figure it out.
But then you won, so you gotta like it.
Oh
now,
yeah,
right?
love it now, right? So no, I enjoy it, and I think the tire creates for good racing, especially on the weekly night that they put in the 35-lap caution, so it kind of dices everything up and makes it good racing.
Well, speaking of good racing, let's bring in the guy that you had a good battle with. Let's bring over the guy that you guys went toe-to-toe with.
I can't sit too close to this guy. We're going to fight.
I was about to say, you guys were close enough the last time. He was a guest on last Wednesday's edition of Trackside Live. Austin Hall, driver of the 20 car. We asked Austin about the battle. Dylan, let's start with you. You guys, and I told Austin this, and I was serious, and I apologize in the broadcast. I'm sorry, folks, we're focusing on these 2 cars, but it's the best battle, and we've not seen a super late model battle for the lead like that go for so long. From your perspective, Dylan, what was Austin doing to you, making you so mad you wanted to punch him?
No, it was he. You know what I mean? You replay in my position, at least. I replay every lap in my head. And what could I have done different? And you can't really do anything at that point. I think Austin had a better car that night, and we held him off for 20 laps. And it was, you think like, oh, I should just let him go, and I could have maybe ran him down. But there was no chance running him down that night. But no, it was a good night for us, and I think a good night. Every time we're on the racetrack together, we put on a show, I feel like.
I do got to ask, though, because for some people that maybe are just outside the racing, like, oh, why don't you just hit somebody? Why don't you just knock him out of the way? Austin, why don't you just knock Dylan Stoville out of the way to take the leader? Just kind of explain to people why it's just not that simple.
Well, so, I mean, you kind of remember that, you kind of are going to get what you give. So, even though it might be the easy avenue, sometimes the hard work is worth it in the long run, because if say I had moved Dylan out of the way and just took it, he's going to get me back at some point. Like, he's going to. I know he will. But no, Dylan and I are good friends, and we're not racing each other like that, and it honestly puts on a better show when we do race each other hard. So, I don't know. I mean, we just had 2 really fast cars that night, and I'm hoping tomorrow we have 2 fast cars again.
Take us inside that battle, because what was most fascinating to me about it was how deep it was able to last into a run with you guys racing that hard. And I can maybe ask both of you guys, give your opinion on this. Like, where did you feel that, Austin, you were that little bit better to make a move late in a run, and then doing the same thing? What were you trying to achieve in terms of holding him off for a couple laps? Like, where did you think you were stronger? Where did you ultimately think you were stronger? Kind of for each of you, what was going through your head as a driver there?
I feel like I don't know. I think it was 1 and 2. I think I had him pretty better in 1 and 2, but he just killed me entry to 3 and stuff. And that's where, I mean, it came over the radio like, all right, 20's clear of 3rd, and it was like, shoot. So, no, I think, yeah, he was just better in 3 and 4, really, really good.
Yeah, I think really Dylan was rolling the center of the corners better, and I think I was better on entry and then a little bit more on exit, but like I said, they were so close that it was hard to make anything happen. It was like we were literally given the same exact car, and you're like, all right, go out there and get it done, and I'm going, I got to find anything I can to get by him, because it's like he's got it covered everywhere that I don't.
Well, let's kind of pull it kind of towards tomorrow, push it towards tomorrow, the conversation. How does a battle like that for that long kind of, we'll start with you, Dill, kind of prep you for tomorrow's race, where there's not going to be many instances where you guys are going to be single file. There's going to be a lot of side-by-side racing. How does that kind of prepare you for a possible long run where you might be next to one car for a long period of time, Bill?
Yeah, and they actually have the last year's 250 up on the TV in the bar right now. And I
know we were watching where some of the guys were running. I'm like, oh, that might be different this year.
Right. No, I think you don't really want to battle until it's into a 50-lap run, honestly. I think you watch this race and, like, you get inside somebody or somebody gets inside of you and you kind of just let them go. Like, it's not even worth it early on in a race. Yeah, I think ride's the mentality for the whole night until there's 50 to go.
Kind of same there for you, Austin. How do you kind of use that battle with Dill and say, like, all right, here's what I know my car can do that late in a run?
Yeah, I think you just got to really just survive. The last 100 laps is really kind of where it's made. The first 150, you just kind of want to stay out of the junk and just survive, make sure that you can get to the end of the race, because obviously you can't win it on the first lap. So, yeah, I think it's just, race with respect and try to see if we can give something in the beginning and get it back at the end, and hopefully we got good speed at the end of the race so that we can make a move and get something done.
Austin, we were talking a little bit earlier. We got rained out. How happy are you that we did get rained out here today, and what sort of advantage do you think that gives a guy like you two, like local runners, for tomorrow that's moving to a one-day show?
Yeah, I honestly, I don't think we were going to really do a lot of practice today, just because we've kind of got the track figured out a little bit better. But it's good for us. It's bad for some of the out-of-towners, but there's a lot of good cars here, so I'm sure they'll figure it out, and we'll have a really good race tomorrow.
So we asked this to Austin on Wednesday. We'll ask you, Dill. So many guys that are traveling from out of town. Bubba's back, Kosovar's back, Jones back. Obviously guys that you've raced before multiple times. What is it like when you see them come to your home track instead of maybe going to theirs or seeing them at maybe other places?
I think it's cool. It's definitely cool. I mean, BP's one of the greatest, and Kosovar's up there, and he's doing this cup thing. So it's cool to have all them guys come in, but it's they're coming to our house. So it's Kosovar's house too, in a sense. So it is what it is. But no, it's exciting to race with all these guys and to see them, their cars versus our cars, and see how maybe sometimes we can be better, and where we got them beat always feels good.
Austin, do you want to let your crew know that I can move the camera if they want to be on?
No, we need to put them boys on the show.
They want to be on here.
They need to be on the show.
They want to be on here.
Well, we wouldn't ask him about your car because you've done that enough for us. We'd ask him about your post-win antics at local establishments around the area. We'd obviously have your dad on, too, because he'd probably have paged by that. But We've been talking here with Dylan Stoville, Austin, all guys. Thank you very much for taking your time tonight. Best of luck tomorrow. Get rested up. 250 laps, $40,000.
Absolutely.
Good luck to you guys.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more on Trackside Live.
Hey, Austin, can you hear me?
And welcome back, folks, to Trackside Live here on YouTube Live. Tyler Kuehl, Nate Dreyer, along with Tyler Rycenga, driver of the number 4, getting ready to battle out for $40,000. Tyler, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Yeah, thanks for having me.
First of all, the weather. I know we love talking about it. The rain. You're a local guy. We just talked to a couple local guys too. They like the one-day shows. They're kind of iffy on the two-a-days. How do you approach a day like this? I mean, do you like the second day of practice, or do you like just filling it all in one?
You can
be honest with us. We're not going to get you.
I think the locals might have the upper hand here. I think they might have the advantage going into tomorrow. I think the guys from out of town, not that they'll struggle, but I think it's going to be a little more fast-paced tomorrow. So I hope, if anything, I hope a local wins for sure. I really do. It does change it changes the strategy, I think, a little bit going into tomorrow. Everyone was prepped for, mocking up and seeing what they had today. And so some of those out-of-town guys, I know if there's a handful of guys that came in and tested last week. So we'll see what happens. Looking forward to it. We'll see what goes down tomorrow.
The 150 in June, you had one of the most interesting days of anyone out there. Wound up starting at the back of the field, made some adjustments, drove all the way into the top 5. So tell us about your confidence coming into this event off of that and what that wild day was like. I know you probably don't want to exactly repeat it, but the finish at least was pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. I guess if I got a top 5 in this race going into tomorrow, I'd be tickled pink for sure. So at the Money in the Bank 150, we made some mistakes, some goofy mistakes in qualifying, and we learned. And I hope that we can go into tomorrow and learn from those mistakes. And we had to make some changes, and we knew what we did wrong, and I'm hopeful that we can bounce in that race. I feel like the outcome would have been a little bit different. I don't know if we could have been up there with the 71, but I feel like we were at the end of that race a top 3 car. But yeah, it was fun. Starting from the back and being able to drive our way up. So it did mean a lot, and we had good help, and I feel like I have really good help, going into tomorrow. I got Steve Needles on the pit box helping me.
I was about to say, that's a pretty good guy to have with you, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he knows how to turn circles, and he knows these Seneca cars pretty well, and we've been struggling a little bit this year. But yeah, it's one of these races where you have a lot of competition, a lot of great guys, and you really I just want to be there at the end, really. It's what it comes down to. I want to keep all 4 fenders on the thing and see what we have at the end of it.
What did you learn? Obviously, you ran this race a long time. You used to run Super Lates a little more years ago, but now getting back into the program full-time after winning the Limited Late Model Championship, what did you learn from last year's 250 that you're going to try to take into tomorrow?
Patience. Just being there at the end. I think we got wiped out there with 75, 85 laps to go on a restart. It was an unfortunate circumstance. I think it was kind of a racing deal. Everyone was getting antsy on the restart there, and we got taken out before we even went green, which is super unfortunate. It wiped out a couple of cars, and I think we got the blunt end of it. But yeah, I mean, it's learning from last year going into this year. There's a couple things that I want to change, and I'm hopeful that we can make those changes and have a decent qualifying effort. I'm super hopeful for that because track position's key. With these tires, it's compared to the Hoosiers, which I didn't have a ton of experience on with a slick, but a couple of races I did have on the Hoosiers, I just feel like with these McCreary's, it's been a tire game, and it's been if you can start in a decent starting spot, you're going to have a better chance of being there at the end,
Big picture, you mentioned you're in one of the Seneca cars, and kind of big picture, looking at that chassis battle this year, you guys have got, I believe, 4 fast qualifiers across the program, you with one of them back in May as well, but maybe the race pace hasn't fully been there for your camp. Tell us about what that development throughout the year has been like, and if you guys think you're starting to get closer to that window right in time for this race tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. I do think we're honing in on it. It's been tough trying to find that balance between qualifying and then how we want the car to be at the end of a 75 or 150 lap, or tomorrow's case 250 laps. It's been a tough balance. How we want the car to fire off and how we want it to react, 100 laps in. So, I mean, it's I feel like it happens kind of every year. the Van Dorns have their stuff figured out for sure. I mean, they're all fast, and I'm super happy for those guys. And Austin's on a pretty good run, and Stoville and those guys. So it's a challenge. I think it's we've seen this time and time again, right? It's Brian's dominant one year. The Van Dorns are dominant the next year. Seneca's tough to beat. There's just so much good competition. I think it's overseen a lot of times than not, about how much competition's here at Berlin.
How much now, because the last couple times you guys have raced this year, it's been 90 degrees outside. The track's been like 110. Now we're going to a green track, cooler temperatures. How do you approach that as a driver? Obviously, you got your notebook on how to drive in different conditions, but going from having raced the last couple times in steaming hot, uncomfortable conditions now to more bearable, I guess, conditions, how do you approach that?
It's a great question. We're gonna find out tomorrow. It's been
a while, right?
Man. Yeah, it's been a while. It truthfully has. Going into tomorrow, we're on a green racetrack, like you had mentioned. We don't really know what we're gonna have. Quite honestly, I don't think any one of us really know. I think it's stand on the skinny pedal and see what sticks and see what doesn't. I think it's at the end of the day, the strategy and how we're gonna approach it. I think we're going to keep our heads down and stay focused, and we're going to figure out what try and figure out what the car needs.
Yeah, we'll let you go here in a second. I want to touch on that idea of a green racetrack because I was kind of curious about that. When you're setting up a race like this, where you're balancing tire wear, track position in a car that changes a lot, of course, throughout the night. How much more is that amplified when you have a green racetrack in terms of does the track just change that much faster and you have to stay on top of it that much more throughout the night?
I think Berlin will always be Berlin. Right. I think it's always going to change.
It's the best way to describe it.
Yeah. I think it's don't put the cart before the horse, and I think stay on our notebook that we've been working on all year. Don't change anything, because I think the minute you do, you get behind. Yeah. So I think it's really just focus on at this point now. It's a one-day show, and so. Tomorrow, opening practice, see what we have and see what adjustments need to be made and see how it responds. And really, we haven't really dealt with a ton of rain this year. I think there's always been that chance, right, with the weather and all that, with the races going on. But we haven't really had this type of situation this year. So I think it's certainly going to be – it's going to be what it's going to be. I think we just take it as it comes.
Welcome back to another edition of Trackside Live. Getting ready for the Tekton 250 battle at Berlin. Tyler Kuehl, Nate Dreyer, and sitting to our right, driver of one of the 57 cars. Not one of the 57, one of the number 57 cars you're going to be seeing on Wednesday night here at Berlin Raceway. Battling out for $40,000, Justin Thomas. Justin, how you doing today, man?
Fantastic. I'm happy to be here.
First of all, I got to ask you, we won't talk about the weather yet. We've done that with everyone else so far. How's the year been going for you? Your first real full-time season here in the Super Late Models. You're a former sportsman driver here. You're kind of hooked up with Holster Racing a little bit. How is the first year here in the Tekton Super Late Models?
Honestly, far better than I expected. I expected to be more lap traffic than I have been, but no, I've been fighting for some top 10s here and there, and it's been great.
Yeah, this race, there's a lot that goes into it, and I want to get to this right away because you had a very unique sponsorship setup that you put together for, for this race. I did. I guess tell us a little bit about that process, that idea, who ultimately won the drawing, and what's going to be on your race car.
So, yeah, I had a lot of open spots on the car yet. I'm a little shy when it goes to getting sponsorship. It's hard to put yourself out there.
You mean polite is what I –
yeah.
Someone you're the one that's good at selling too. You're Mr. – everyone in his face, but go ahead.
But, yeah, it's hard to go to people and be like, hey, give me some money for my hobby, So I thought through that and put a post up about 2 weeks ago. I had a big spot in the hood open, a couple other spots, and $20 a spot, and I think we sold about 54 of the spots. I expect it to be like 5 or 10. So
who do you get your wrap done? Do you get with Horvath?
No, I do a lot of screen printing and vinyl graphics. Yep.
Nice.
Yep. So Dale hooked me up with that. He got it all done in that 3 or 4 day span.
That's cool. So it was kind of unique getting everyone on and stuff like that.
Yeah. So the winner ultimately was Donner Farms.
Hey.
Yeah, so we'll have Donner Farms on the hood. On the back bumper, KR. The lower quarters is Threads for All Apparel. You see them also on the Keith Herp car. And then on the quarters, we have Terry, which is my friend Noah's cat. And Mo Davis with No Mo Money Racing.
Nope. I'll tell you this, you're better at remembering sponsors than half the guys that win in Victory Lane. They're all sitting there looking at their cars. We need to get this guy in Victory Lane. He doesn't need to look at any of them. But
my last 4 days may have been a lot of messages and designing logos for a few people and stuff like that.
In the frontal lobe, right?
Yeah, so it might just be right there from that. And a week from now, I'm not sure if I'll remember all that.
Well, as long as you remember it by tomorrow, right? No, but kind of let's talk about this. This is your first 250, right?
Yes.
So what is your mindset? Obviously, you've been learning a lot this season. Now you're going up against big-name drivers, not 150, it's another 100 laps, more tires, more strategy involved. How are you feeling just as a driver overall heading into a race like this?
My philosophy has been KISS, keep it simple. In the 150, we only made it to about lap 44. So this is going to be interesting to see how it feels after lap 75. So,
what are you learning this track in this car? What has been maybe the one part of the racetrack or the one thing about learning this track that's been the most difficult and the most challenging for you that you've had to focus on the most?
This is the only asphalt track I've ever ran in my life.
Okay.
So dirt, I've ran a large variety of dirt tracks on motorcycles, and I've ran a few in a car, but no, on asphalt, this is the only track I've ran. So it's hard for me to answer that question, but it's really the shape. You see the aerial view of this track, and it's a lot to look at, right? It doesn't make sense. Like, this is a racetrack. It's like looking at Darlington. It just, what are we doing here? But that difficulty is what gives us little guys a chance when it comes to these big races. These out-of-towners have to have these 2-day shows to learn the track. I'm sitting over going, like, why are we doing 2 days? Let's do 1 day. I don't want these guys to get practice.
That's exactly what Austin and Dylan said. Obviously, just like Austin also went from sportsman to super late model. How has that transition been for you, and how do you try to get adjustment? We got a couple old versions of the 250 here on Flow Racing on our monitors here in the left turn lounge. Do you watch races? Do you just simply talk to Austin? Is it just kind of trial by fire? How have you slowly learned to become a template car driver compared to what you used to do in a sportsman?
Well, luckily in the sportsman, I took about, I don't even know, like 3-year gap or something like that. Yeah. I took time off, right? So when I ran my first laps this year in this template car, I didn't have that memory of where I lived and whatnot still there. So I was starting from a
style body on the cars as well, really dominant lately. What's it been like to be able to work with that group? How much more helpful has it been to have that really, really solid level of drivers, top to bottom, all the race winners this year, to learn and get data off of them?
Oh, it's been huge. Having the association with Van Dorn Racing Development has been beneficial 100%. If I didn't have that link, I probably wouldn't be in this race. I wouldn't have felt competitive to be here today. But, yeah, having them to lean on and ask questions, set my car up and set my shocks up, I feel confident in making a start tomorrow.
First of all, as we're talking about wraps earlier on, why have you not brought back the old 80s styrofoam cup they used to run on the sportsman car, that little teal and purple one? That was always the best part, because sportsmans, I think, have some of the best paint jobs. Why is that not in your car? Is it just too expensive?
No one ever acknowledged it when I had it.
I say it all the time on the broadcast.
I didn't have flow or anything back then.
I don't think we were on flow back then.
Whatever it was, I don't think I was going back and rewatching the races. I wasn't hearing that. But no one approached me and said, hey, this is awesome, this is cool. I thought it was a dud of a pace.
You were always next to Austin, so I thought you probably heard me. I'm like, dude, Justin's car looks pretty cool. I'm sorry, I will yell it. If you do it, if you somehow get that wrap and paint before the end of the season, maybe next year, I will yell it over
before the
PA.
end of the season. No, okay. Next year, maybe.
We gotta get more of those $20 sponsors, eh?
A few more of them, yes. But stickers ain't cheap.
No, they aren't. Stickers on tires, stickers on cars, they are not cheap at all. But this guy's trying to go for a big payday. $40,000 tomorrow. Justin Thomas, first-year super late model driver at Berlin. Thanks for taking the time, man, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll be back with more Trackside Live right after this. And welcome back to Trackside Live. We've talked to drivers. We've talked to the you have Austin Hall, crew chief. Yes. Pardon me. Sorry, we have 30 cars, 30 drivers trying to figure out. Ethan's with Stoville. So we just talked to the two guys that battled it out for 2 weeks ago. Ethan, I'll take yours. Let's go with you first. Okay. You take Stoville's side. How was that battle a couple weeks ago for the lead and the win?
Oh, it was good. I felt like Dylan honestly ran a really good race. I felt like he ran about a perfect race for what he had car-wise. Austin definitely had a little bit better of a car. Props to Carl on that one. Made a better adjustment than I did before the race, and it showed in the race. No, Austin honestly ran us really clean. I felt like it was just a good race all around. Great show for the fans. Yeah, really, really not much we could do there until the last lap, and unfortunately they got away from us.
What about you, Carl? Obviously Austin was following the entire way, and you really gave Dylan a nice slap in the face there, the way Austin was able to come back and win. Just from your perspective, how did that race go? What were you kind of telling Austin there?
So we're points racing, they're not, so it gets a little tricky there. Like Dylan's going to be more aggressive because he has less to lose. We've got 60-something point lead going into that night, or 40, whatever it might have been. So you don't want to put yourself in a position to lose all those points. As a crew chief and a spotter, the smartest move there with how aggressive they were would have been Austin back off, run second. Yeah. But Austin's a race car driver. If I say be smart, back off, and he sails it off into 3 and puts it on his door. So it is what it is. I mean, it was a really good race. Awesome for the fans. I mean, it was one of the best races I've seen there in a long time. So from my end, it was just telling Austin, be smart, be smart, be smart. We can't afford to have somebody owe us one at the end of this season. So
it's exactly what Austin said when I asked him, like, hey, why don't you just hit the guy? And he's like, well, that's why.
Right. You don't want to, in the position we're in, you don't want to have somebody owe you one. So I said, if you can get by him clean, absolutely go for it. And that's what happened. I felt like it was definitely a hard race.
Definitely a hard race.
It was a great race, but just got by him at the end. It was an incredible show. Yeah.
We've been asking drivers for a couple weeks here about the strategy for this race, and they all don't know. They're just drivers. They're just driving things. So I guess let's go to you guys, because you're going to be the ones ultimately making some of the decisions tomorrow. There's a lot out there. A couple 3-tire stops, 2-tire stop, and a 4-tire stop. Do you pit early? Do you pit late? There's a lot of options out there. Tell us about that balance between saving tires and saving 4 for the end, making the track position call. Is there one set game plan that you're hoping to go with, or is it really just wide open for both of you?
I think a lot of it comes down to kind of where you're at in the race, right? Like it's if you have track position, you might want to pit a little bit later and keep the track position, kind of pit with everybody at the same time. If you don't, you want to short pit and try to start up front later and see if tires can hang on. Track position here at Berlin is a lot of the battle, as you guys know. I mean, if you can stay up front, you'll be up front, and hope you get a good set of tires at the end of the race. So like I said, it's kind of hit or miss on what you want to do. I can't sit here and say what call you want to make, because it's all kind of a game time decision.
Well, same thing for you, Carl. What is your approach?
I'm gonna say the same thing. I mean, if your driver puts you in a good spot and qualifies good, you can kind of play the race different than if you qualify middle, back half. Where if you start up front and you've got the car, you can just kind of hang out there. Like that's kind of past the hornet's nest. So you're able to just run 1st through 7th. You can just kind of hang out there and then pit with the lead group. Not really going to get into tire strategy. Right. What we're going to do there. That's
well, someone's going to be like,
secret.
Someone's going to be watching on YouTube right now. I'm like, 20's doing this.
Yeah, right.
But
yeah.
I am curious for I guess for people that don't know. I mean, people have watched a lot of like movie depictions of crew chiefs and spotters, and people have obviously maybe listened to NASCAR Radioactive. Ethan, I'll start with you here. How much do you talk to Dylan in the car, or how much dialogue is there? Because I know it wavers among each driver. How much do you talk to him?
Honestly, quite a bit. Obviously, Carl spots for Austin, so he talks to him a lot. But from like on the box standpoint, quite a bit. Just trying to talk him through the strategy, when we need to go, when we need to save. Who we want to ride behind, kind of where we're at on the racetrack position-wise when we, get a restart or a choose cone. Obviously tomorrow we don't really have that. So you try to, if you're better on the top, you want to gain a position to start up top or lose one to start on the inside, whatever the case may be for how the car is at that moment. No, it's pretty much all race. A lot of the race I'm telling him to save, to try to save the right rear tire and not burn it up for us.
So he doesn't listen if you have to keep telling him that, right?
Sometimes he doesn't, right? He's a race car
Race car
driver.
drivers are going to be race car
Race car
drivers.
drivers are going to be race car drivers. They want to go. They want to race when you're door to door with somebody. It's hard to back off and let them get the position, but sometimes that's the better option in that moment. And I like to remind him of that, or sometimes have to remind him of that. Like, hey man, we gotta be there at the end. You don't want to be there at the beginning. It's the same as last week, right? Like you gotta win. You win the last lap. We led 74, and we didn't lead the last one. That's the one that counts.
Yep.
So same thing going into tomorrow.
Carl, you're up top with all the other spotters here. How much? I mean, obviously you're trying to make sure, especially on. It's different, I think, when you're on maybe like a super speedway or a big NASCAR track where you have time to kind of maybe talk to other guys. Short tracks, I mean, your guy is always in traffic on a race like this, and the long green flag runs. Do you have time to wart your attention away from Austin? Maybe say, hey, what is your guy doing, or something like that?
There's been some times later in a race when we're, like last week, we're having a really good battle. Nate Kester gets right out of the way for us. Didn't have to say anything to him. He gets right to the bottom. Huge props to them for that. Not interrupt the good race. Where, I mean, you guys just talked to Justin Thomas. I ran down to his spotter, who's actually Austin's cousin.
Oh, there you go.
So I ran down to him and said, and just told him, you saw what Nate did. Please get him to the bottom.
Get out of the way.
So not a whole lot of going and talking to other guys. You kind of keep to yourself up there. But yeah, it's I love spotting. It's fun. It's good to be able to talk to him the whole race.
Is it as easy as, I don't want to say easy as it looks, but is it just watch out, you got cars down low or one high, two high?
It's a little bit trickier being.
Well, that's why I asked him. You're shaking.
Not at all. It's difficult.
Yeah,
like
it is.
To
tough.
spot is easy. To be a good spotter is hard because
Right.
you have to understand the dynamic of your race car driver's mind and his mental and where he's going, and you almost have to guess like what he wants to do next to try to either get him to do that or to hold him back from doing that.
It's like being the crew chief and the spotter too is tricky because I'm spotting and relaying the same information that he has. So I'm calling the race from the spotter stand and spotting. So it's honestly, it's easier sometimes and it's harder. Where it's easier because I don't have to find my gap with the crew chief. I can just say it. Whereas like when to save, when to go, I can just do that. So it is a little bit easier from that standpoint. But yeah, having a good, I mean, Austin and I are really good friends. We've been friends for a long time. So we have a really, really good dynamic, and it's really been clicking this year. So just knowing what he wants, knowing what he wants to hear, knowing what fires him up or what calms him down. There's a lot of, I mean, you guys have talked to him. He's a pretty weird guy.
Just a little bit.
He's got a lot of quirks about him that I know that a lot of people wouldn't. So things that I can say to him to calm him down or things I can say to him to fire him up to make a move are a huge advantage, I think.
Tomorrow, 250 laps, a race that goes from daylight in tonight completely. The track rubbers up, the temperatures change, so we know that you have to be able to stay on top of the race car. For the fans at home, what are some of the primary adjustments that we can be looking towards your teams? What are some of the main tools in the toolbox throughout the course of the race to keep up with the race car's changes?
Honestly, a lot of it's tires. The
100%.
tires here are everything. Being on a Hoosier, other places kind of, it's not as big of a deal if you're a little bit off stagger or whatnot. A place like Berlin, very stagger dependent. This tire is very stagger dependent. So trying to plan out your tires for the race, like as you fall into the night, maybe gaining a little bit of stagger, because it's going to tighten up. When it gets darker here, it typically likes to tighten up a little bit. So you try to give him maybe a little bit more stagger to kind of get him to stay in that neutral point. It is very difficult. Making an adjustment here is almost like going to the casino. It's kind of a gamble. If the dew sets in or if it doesn't, and you're guessing. Well, if it's going to set in, do we take stagger away or do we make an adjustment for it? Or, if the dew doesn't set in, then it's, well, do we add a little bit of stagger? Do we want to make them roll a little bit better through the center, but you're sacrificing a little bit off? So tires I would say are 95% of the battle here.
The hardest part about the whole day is the tire barn. I mean, you guys see us make ourselves look like doofuses running to the tire barn.
Oh yeah,
that's the most important part of the day. In all reality, like if Johnny Van Dorn brings in his nephew, who's a track runner, to try and beat me down to the tire barn, it's crucial to get down there early and get. It's honestly just getting down there and getting 5 minutes without 40 people in the tire barn. Like that's the most important part of the day, is having your tires set where they need to be. And to your question, same thing. It's tires. I mean, if you have your sets planned out for the race and you know what they are, you can swap around and you can shrink a little stagger, grow a little stagger on the fly at the race, in the race. But yeah, that's probably going to be the biggest thing, honestly.
And to that, I know you said you weren't going to talk tire strategy, but
you just talked about your getting to the tire barn strategy.
Right. But to that point, when you're talking about this sort of tire changes being made, 3 and 3, 2 and 4, whatever the options may wind up being, how big of a factor is what that tire selection comes down to? If you got the stagger you want, if you're able to get those adjustments right, knowing what the race car is going to do as well when you make those changes, how big of a factor is that, obviously, in selecting what you're going to do strategy-wise?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, if you say you get down there and you just can't get your tires, like you just can't get what you want, you can play a different strategy and keep the same left rear on the car and utilize an off-size right side, or vice versa. You can utilize an off-size left side with something you have on the right. Like you can play those games if you don't get what you want out of the tire barn. Obviously, ideally, you get what you want and you can play whatever strategy you'd like. But sometimes, I mean, it happens. These McCurry tires are weird. They do some weird things. So if you end up with a weird set, you have to make the best of it. That's the hardest part about being a crew chief, is adaptability.
The tough part here is you got 30 teams, right? You got 30 teams all trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And the chance of all 30 teams getting exactly what they want is slim to none, right? You're lucky to get half of that to get exactly what you want, or maybe a tenth of that to get exactly what you want. So trying to make the best of it, like he said during the race, having the option to swap tires around left to right, or left sides to left sides, and try to make the best of the stagger that you have, or whatever the case may be, is very crucial.
That's what separates a good crew chief from a great crew chief. Is a good crew chief can, if everything's right, they can make it work. They can win races. A great crew chief can take a bad hand that they're dealt and win with it.
Yeah.
So that's what separates the great from the good.
Speaking of winning, we always talk to drivers whenever they come on here. What would it mean to win a race here? What would it mean to win this kind of race here as the guys who work with the teams? I'll start with Ethan. Ethan, what would it mean for Dylan to win a race like this?
For Dylan?
Well, I mean,
or
what
for
would,
you.
what would it mean to you as well?
I'm commandeering the question. What would it mean for you to win this race?
Everything, right?
Yeah.
This is what, especially being the home track, this is the race. This is our snowball derby of the year. It's all or nothing in this one. Like if you win this race, your name's going on the board forever. This is best of the best. There's not a slouch in the field. There really isn't. Pretty much, I feel like most anybody in the field can win the race, and to win this one is life-changing.
I mean, I'd say the same thing. It's huge. This pays more than the Snowball Derby. Like this is a huge race. It's everything to win it. Being in the points, it's a little trickier. Like we can't go full attack. Because
you can. It's just it might not be the most responsible move.
Nate Kester said it earlier. You can't win the championship tomorrow, but you can lose it.
Yeah.
So we can't. If we can come out of here with a 7th, obviously that's not what we want. But if you can do that, that's a great night. But if he's got the car and we're running pretty good and he's being a good driver.
I'm letting him go. Drivers.
I was actually going to ask you a question. Like, if you come down to it, right? If you're a championship or winning the 250, what do you choose?
Championship's $10,000, the 250's $40,000.
I was about to say, there's always next year for a championship.
Yeah.
You might.
It's but it would be. I mean, I'm not going to work Thursday if we win.
I don't think a lot of people would be going to work Thursday.
It would be huge.
But it's $40,000. That's what it's all about. There's only so many drivers that have won this race, and you look at the names that have won it. Eric Jones has won it. Bubba Pollard's won it. Brian Campbell, Carson Osavar. To have either Hall or Stoville's name, I think that would be. And Rycenga, you mentioned it earlier. He'd love to see a local guy win this race. So obviously, it would mean a lot for obviously you guys. Whoever wins this race is going to be a great race.
Yeah. Honestly, we keep saying $40,000. Like it's not even about the money, right? Like to even anybody, the car owners, the drivers, the crew chiefs. I think anybody. It's just a prestigious race. Like this is the race, whether it pays $0 or it pays $40,000.
Yeah.
This is the race to win for the year.
You grow up watching these shows and like they're a mythical thing. Like if you're Like they're just you never think you can even be in the position to be called a favorite or be called anything. I mean, I'm just the crew chief, but still to be on a part of a team and to be considered is wild. Like you'd never imagine.
Of all the local guys we have here, Nate, I think these two guys are part of the teams that are of the local guys are favorites to win this race. $40,000, $0 doesn't matter. Prestige is on the line tomorrow night. Thank you very much, Carl. Thank you very much, Ethan. You get your guys ready to go, and maybe we'll see one of you guys in victory lane.
Hope so.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We'll come back and wrap this up here from Berlin on Trackside Live. And welcome back, folks, to Trackside Live. Huge thanks to our laundry list of guests for this edition. I will say this, folks. Everyone's like, oh, my gosh, you guys got so many people this week. Well, it's helpful that it was raining outside, so everyone was inside the lounge.
Right here.
So we had Ryan Pilon and Andrew Hardy as our assistants here tonight. Ryan Pilon, of course, one of our pit reporters here for Flow Racing. Andrew is one of our camera guys here for our Flow Racing crew. They've been huge help, so shout out to those guys. They've been really key in getting us the great guests we've had here tonight. Let's talk about the schedule for tomorrow. Oh, yes, there we go.
Right there, wave to the camera, guys.
Andrew, turn around, wave. Yeah, there they are. Those are the guys who have been working hard tonight. Ryan, you'll see him tomorrow on the broadcast. Andrew will be working the Turn 3 camera from what we've been told on our Flow Racing crew. Great crew we have, great camera shots all night long. Let's talk about the schedule for tomorrow. We mentioned, you see it there, pits open a little bit earlier. That's okay. Earlier practice, longer practice. Limited late models, by the way, also racing tomorrow. They got a nice extended feature. 40 laps for them. That's one of the longer ones. And, of course, the Tekton 250. There was rumors of a last chance race, but, Nate, when you have this big a race, when you have this much money on the line, you can't turn anyone away. Everyone wants a shot at the big cash.
And all 30 cars that are entered tomorrow are certainly cars that are very, very capable teams, drivers. I mean, the list of drivers that have come in nationally, we've got a whole group of guys that have come in from the Northeast that are some of the best drivers over there. They run a lot at Oxford Plains as well, which is a very similar track in terms of its technicality to Berlin. The rest of the heavy hitters as well in terms of the travelers. We don't even need to get into Eric Jones and Carson Hocevar. We know, who? Bubba Pollard is here. Ty Majeski trying his hand again at the Tekton 250 battle at Berlin. Cole Raz out of Oregon. What a run he had last year to a top 5 finish. I think he's going to be a sneaky, really, really strong guy tomorrow, and a huge list of locals and more that you can find across the Berlin social media pages as well. There's a incredible crop of guys coming up tomorrow, and I don't even know where I would start trying to handicap this thing.
And Chase Pinsino is coming back as well. He ran the full-time series last year. He's doing a lot more traveling. We have a lot of other guys that haven't really been here before. Jimmy Tucker, Buddy Shepard, Dave Farrington Jr. There's another couple. Matt Craig is a name that we haven't really heard of much around here.
Nick Neri is in from Florida. He won the UARA race at Auburndale on Saturday. He's running out of the Thormeyer camp, so that's a really good car.
I was about to say, and that was another late addition. Of course, we got a couple local guys that popped in late as well. I'm really excited to see all these strategies come together because it's the age-old Mike Tyson quote. Everyone has a strategy until they get punched in the face. When will that first punch in the face be in a race like this? It can be early, as we've seen, like Tyler Rycenga said, and some guys bow out early. When does that happen for them, and how do the cars change? And being on a completely green racetrack too, something we haven't really seen in the from the battle side, the battle at Berlin side, for a couple of years. It's going to really throw a wrench in a lot of people's plans. The 150 was tough for those drivers as it was. The 250 is going to be even harder.
I think some of the conversations I had with drivers, even beyond being on the record right here, that I had off the record today, I think things are the pit reporters, we are going to be as busy as we've been like all year long, because there's a lot of different factors that are all going to come to a head. I think tomorrow, and I think we just had a couple of crew chiefs saying we don't want to give away tire strategy. I think a little bit going on there is they don't fully have that tire strategy mapped out yet. It really does come down to when the cautions fall. What's your track position? How's the race car handling? Do we trust bolting on 3 tires at a time? Do we need to have the 4 fresh ones for the end? These American Racer tires, you can push them deeper. Bubba Pollard learned that a couple weeks ago when he finished second to the 14-year-old Tyler Lupton. I don't think we talked about it yet.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a different element where you're able to play a track position game that traditionally you couldn't play in this race. But with that said, tires still matter. Berlin is still Berlin.
And that's exactly what we said. And Tony Stewart said it before. It's a perfectly worn track, and there's always been talks of repaving the track. And I've had my theories on how, because everyone thinks you'll lose the racing lines. I have my theories on how you could work it in, but it's hard to be like, well, the racing's great, so why change it? But then they always go back and say, well, the tires get chewed up, and then it's a real give and take, a real catch and go with that sort of deal. So it's going to be a great race, 250 laps, competition cautions, regular, maybe natural cautions. We'll see. You know, some drivers will be trying to quickly get up to the field. Some guys will try to save their stuff. Qualifying is going to be important because between qualifying and the start of the race, that's maybe a 5-6 degree temperature drop. If we have sun, that's going to be a question mark too for tomorrow. We got Blake Harms here tomorrow night, and so he'll be able to give us the proper weather report as we go along through the night. So, but yeah, final thoughts here, Nate. We mentioned the big name drivers. I don't think we need to give our picks yet. We'll let you guys do that on the broadcast and make fools out of yourselves tomorrow. I'm going to be unbiased and just say that I think a car is going to win this race.
I believe
a car with a number and a color paint scheme. That's going to be my pick.
I think that's it. We don't have I know there's a car that's just like X that runs in Cars Tour sometimes, so that would maybe hurt you, but we're good for that. No,
X is a number. It's a Roman numeral.
No. There's a lot of stuff we're watching. Like you said, we've got some really good insight. You can see from a long ways out. Those are the notes. So, we've got plenty ready to go on.
Got mine on my laptop.
Yeah, he's got his here. They're just as thorough. So we're ready to go. We're on the air 5 o'clock tomorrow on Flow. So we've got a full half hour before qualifying.
We are doing a prime video. We are going to be from 5 o'clock until midnight. It's going to be all night long.
So we'll talk to Carson, we'll talk to Bubba, we'll talk to Eric, we'll talk to Ty and everyone else right off the top of that broadcast for sure to prime you for qualifying, get you the full qualifying coverage, and then go on through the rest of the night. We're going to talk to your favorite driver. We're going to have a strategy for your favorite driver. I can promise you that much from Pit Road. We've been here prepping all day long. I'm so ready to go for this race.
We might have a strategy. It might not work. It might work. $40,000 will be the one for who it works for the best tomorrow night. And the green flag drops on Flow Race. If you can't be here, be sure to tune in. Thank you all very much for all the guests we've had here. I'm going to try to do it. Here we go. We got Austin Hall. We had Dylan Stoville. We had Tyler Rycenga. We had Justin Thomas. We had Carl Usher and Ethan Sinechik. And did I miss any?
I think that was all. Ryan was on the broadcast for a second.
Ryan and Andrew were on for a second when we turned the camera at them. I got it. I'm glad I remembered all those off the top of my head. Thank you all very much for watching here on YouTube Live, and we'll see you tomorrow night here for the Tekton 250 Battle at Berlin.